Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. May yahdihillahu fala mudhillalah wa may yudlilhu fala hadiyalah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la syarikalah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan 'abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim wa barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim fil alamin innaka Hamidum Majid. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli, amma ba'. All praises be to Allah. We praise Him. We ask for His help. We ask for His forgiveness. We seek refuge with Allah from the wickedness of ourselves and from the badness of our deeds. Whoever been given by Allah guidance, then nobody can be a misguider for him. And whoever being misguided by Allah, then nobody can be a guider for him. I bear witness there is only one God worthy to worship, to be worshipped, no God worthy to be worshipped except Allah, and Muhammad is His servant and His messenger. O Allah, give good prayers upon Muhammad and the family of Muhammad. I have given good prayers upon Abraham and the family of Abraham. O Allah, give good prayers upon bless upon Muhammad and the family of Muhammad. I have blessed upon the family of Abraham and upon Abraham and the family of Abraham. Verily, you are most worthy of praises and most noble. Today, inshallah, we will continue with our last topic of honoring knowledge. That is the 20th, because all our topic in this book is actually only 20 topic, 20 title or topic about honoring knowledge, or summarization of honoring knowledge. The original book is actually quite big. This is the summarization that we took from the written by the author. Actually, for memorization, for the student to memorize it. But anyway, because we want to take benefit from whatever we wrote about honoring the knowledge, or making sure that we are learning the right way. So we just took the summarization. May Allah Ta'ala grant us benefit and make us continuously practicing whatever we learn. In last topic, we talk about the pleasure of the heart with knowledge, and also it must conquer the heart. The pleasure of knowledge must conquer the heart. But like we said, the three things, the things that will make you have the pleasure of knowledge. There's three things that being said by Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah, that you have to make an effort for your effort and your all of your struggle inside the knowledge. I mean, you have to work for it. Secondly, you must have the truthful intention in searching the knowledge. Means that when you are seeking knowledge, you really want to seek knowledge, not other thing, but knowledge is your goal. And lastly, you must have a sincere and right intention. So Alhamdulillah, we talk about it, and inshallah today we'll talk for the last topic about honoring knowledge. There is Al-Ma'kidu Al-Ashrun. Al-Ma'kidu Al-Ashruna, the 20th summary. Hifzul Waqti fil Ilmi, keeping time in knowledge. I mean, in searching for knowledge, in involving yourself in knowledge, you have to keep your time. You have to keep your time. Qala Ibn Jawzi rahimahullah fi Saidi Khatirihi, Ibn Jawzi, one of the scholars uh, from among writers of hadith. He have the book titled Al-Mawdu'at, Al-Mawdu'at, and he also known as historian. Uh, Actually, he was around his life span is around 510 Hijrah to 597 of Hijrah. Ibn Jawzi, is known as a scholar of Hadith, and also uh, actually one of the historian, known historian for the history of Islam. He said, Ibn Jawzi, and his actually Ibn Jawzi, his real name is Abdurrahman bin Abil Hasan. Abdurrahman bin Abil Hasan Ali bin Muhammad Al-Qurashi Al-Taymi Al-Bakri. Means that he is actually from the descendant of Abu Bakr As-Siddiq radhiyallahu anhu. He said in his book Saidul Khatirihi, his book titled Saidul Khatir, he said, Yambaghi lil insani an ya'rifa syarafa zamanihi wa qadara waqtihi. He said, it is important a human must know the importance of his time and the value of his hour. Is that anybody who actually have rightful mind must have attention or a real sense of value towards his time and his hour. Is that he should not carelessly or leisurely doesn't care about what he's doing with his time. He said also, فَلَا يُضَيِّعُ مِنْهُ لَحْظَةً فِي غَيْرِ قُرْبَةٍ. So, he would not waste even a moment of his time in other than pious act. Qurbah is actually pious act. Meaning that anything you do to get closer to Allah is called qurbah, because the word is originally from qaruba. Yakrubu means near, and it being said qurban, when you sacrifice an animal to make Allah Ta'ala pleased with you, then it's also qurban, means that you do something to make yourself near to Allah. So he said here, a person, a human being, a human must have the sense of importance of his time and value as hour, so that he would not waste even a moment of his time in other than pious act. They always to think about what pious act he must do. And also he said here, وَيُقَدِّمُ فِيهِ الْأَفْضَلُ فَالْأَفْضَلُ يُقَدِّمُ فِيهِ الْأَفْضَلَ فَالْأَفْضَلَ مِنَ الْقَوْلِ وَالْعَمَلِ. And thus he would bring forth, make in priority for his life, for in better than better, in saying and doing. Whatever he want to do, he must prioritize the better than the better, not anything without choosing. Means that he must make sure that his time being spent in the best, in his saying and whatever he's doing. He must have prioritization, that the thing that he do must be the best, or the best then better and good. Make good, better and best. Make the best first, the best for his saying, the best for his doing in his time. He must prioritize it, because he know the value of his time. And we know that our time in this world is actually one of the most precious, even you cannot pay or give your wealth to get whatever passed from your time. There's something that you cannot buy it anymore. Other than that, you can buy. You can use your money, your power to get whatever you lose from things. Other than the time, because the time, if it's past and it's past, you cannot gain it again. If you just look around you and just close your eyes and just think whatever happened in your life during your childhood, during your teen age, and during your graduation of from university, the first work that you done, the first job that you enter, everything is actually just passed like that and cannot be repeated anymore, because Allah Subhanahu wa Taala make the time that we actually living in this world as a trial for us, for Him to know which of us is better in his deeds or doing. Allah Ta'ala say in the Quran, in the surah, Surah Al-Mulk, verse number 2. Allah Ta'ala said, "Alladhi khalaqal mauta wal hayata liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amala." He, Allah, is the one that created death and life. Created death and life. Why? Liyabluwakum, so He can test you all. Ayyukum ahsanu amala, which of you is the best in his deeds or is doing in this world. Because without the time limit, that you cannot know who is actually using the time most of his time, or all of his time, in goodness or in badness. Because if everybody is not being given that time length, then you can compare yourself, a person living in this world for 45 years old, looking back to another person who is better than him in his deed or doing. If you can compare people in this world, like Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, he died around 54 years old. He was born in 150 Hijrah and he died in 204 Hijrah. So 54 years old only his life, not 70, not 90. It doesn't ever reach 100. Even less than just a little bit than half of 100. 54. But look at what he done. Look at the knowledge and the benefit that people in this world get from Imam Shafi'i. Imam Nawawi rahimahullah is lesser than that. He died around 55 years old. No, 45 years old. 45 years old. And look what he have produced and give towards humankind. That is the value of life, because your lifespan, you cannot gain it again. So a person that know the value of his hour, of his time, he should not waste not a single moment except in pious deeds, and always make sure that whatever he do, he must do the best or better in saying or doing, than wasting it to something that is actually not benefiting. ومن هنا he said عظمت رعاية العلماء للوقت. From here, from this point, the scholars care for time become big. Means that their concern towards time become bigger, because they know their time is limited, so they always make the best of his saying or doing. Must always the best, must be the best to be done, not to be used the time for anything that is actually lesser than the better. To the extent that they concerned towards time, to the extent that Muhammad bin Abdul Baqi al-Bazzaz, he is actually he said, Muhammad al-Baqir al-Bazar al-Ansari al-Ka'bi is known as the Qadi of Maristan, was an Arab jurist and mathematician. He was the author of commentary of the 10 book of Euclid element, which was translated by Gerard of Ceremona as Liber Jude Super Decomen Ulysses. Anyway, because he's actually a mathematician and a jurist, a judge. So he said, among the saying, to the extent that Muhammad bin Abdul Baqi al-Bazaz said, he said, Ma dayya'tu sa'atan min umri fi lahwin aw la'bin. He said, I didn't waste a moment of my age in play or in game. In play or in game, he never ever waste his time for that, because he actually looking at the preciousness of time. So he doesn't ever use his time for play or game. That actually in Islam, when you said about not playing or doesn't have a game, you have to define what do you mean by game or play, because the Prophet SAW, with his companion, he always encouraged his companion, the man especially, to have a passion in things that will make them strong, have a strength or strong in doing jihad, like archery or riding horses or even wrestling. So the Prophet is actually encouraging them to play with that type of games. Means that the games that will make you a better fighter in war, things that will make you better, because thing like this is actually the thing that will help you from your physical health and your mind health. Actually, the opposite of that, if in our time, when our youngsters, our teenagers waste their time in gaming. Right now, after the MCO, the government actually now endorsing the e-game, where the participant will go internationally to play video games. E-games. it's not really a game like a game, physical game. It's just an e-game. So no movement except your head, your eyes, and maybe your thumb. So actually, this movement, only this movement, or to make your body not moving except your fingers, is not healthy. That's why when I said games, that the Prophet ﷺ encouraging his companion riding horses, archery, wrestling, and everything, that is actually things that will help you benefiting in your physical health and your mental health, both. In other side, that a person that is actually sitting in front of the screen, looking at the screen, and more worse than that, if the screen is just this size, the size of 6 inch, 4 inch, just like that, you actually limiting your eyes to a certain block of size, like this. It is so not healthy, because Allah Ta'ala in the Quran said, Qul siru fil ardi fanzuru kaifa kana akibatul ladzi min qablihim. Qul siru, O Muhammad, say to them, siru fil ard, walk in this world, and look at what happened to those people before them. Because by looking, you're expanding your view or your vision, It's actually helping your mind, and also will make you a person that will be calm in whatever you face in your life, because you can learn many things by looking around, looking at the table, looking at the chair, looking at the trees, the birds. You can have the knowledge and the calmness. Even if we look at the story of two of the son of Adam, Cain and Abel, when the killing happened, and when Allah Ta'ala want for uh, Cain to uh, know how to bury the body of his brother, Allah Ta'ala sent to him crow, a bird, that digging inside the ground uh, to bury the body of the other bird, other crow, or and I think some of Israeliyat, some of the uh, source of the people of the book, the Jew and the Christian, they said there is a crow digging. So by looking at that crow, Cain, the one who killed his brother, learn things. First of all, learn how to bury the body of his brother. Secondly, he start to feel guilty, to feel guilt inside his heart. How can he be uh, weak to dispose of his brother body? He carrying the body behind him all around, because that is the first killing. Even some of the scholars said that that is the first death, because if death before that happened, so the way to dispose of a human body should be known by the Cain, the son of Adam. But because there's no preceding death before that, so he doesn't know what to do with the body carrying around. But by looking, he got the knowledge. So actually, to look around you, to not limiting yourself to just a 4-inch or 6-inch screen, is actually very benefiting for you. Make you calm, make you learn. But what have happened today? We actually just looking at the screen, this size. It's not really good. So that's why when I said about the games, when Muhammad bin Abdul Baqi al-Bazzar said, I didn't waste a moment of my age in play or game, you must understand that he doesn't mean something that actually will help his physical, like archery. Because Imam Ash-Shafi'i, rahimahullah, he was known as a person who uh, can very sharp in archery. He's very sharp in archery. So we known, because among things that he do, he like archery. Same as most of the scholars. So means that the physical movement, the physical activity is actually not always being said as wasted of time. Waste of time, because you do have to move yourself and make yourself to be more active. That is actually that's the meaning that you have to understand. Because never ever from among the companion of Prophet ﷺ, or from among the tabi'ins, the students of the companion of Prophet ﷺ, and those who come after them, who following them, they will not ever separating the benefit of this world with the teaching of the religion. They always moving in the same way, not just doing things that concerning knowledge, and lefting everything about physical movement. So but anyway, when they play the game, whatever they play, must be things that will benefit towards the religion, towards towards Islam. Like I said, things that will make you stronger in war. They actually channeling it to that. Even the Prophet ﷺ, he actually uh, sound narrated hadith that the Prophet ﷺ did make an offer to the companion, to whoever from among them want to raise his horse, and he give them reward. Whoever can beat his horse, he will give them reward. And he said, from this checkpoint to this checkpoint, from checkpoint that we said, if anybody can pass his horse, then he will pay. He will give them reward. That is the thing that will make them things that actually play with the horse and riding the horse, making sure the horse is actually healthy. Things that like that is actually considered in Islam permissible and actually being encouraged, because it will help in building strength to go to war for Allah. Right. He said here, وقال أبو الوفاء ابن عقيل. And Abu Wafa ibn Aqil. Who is Abu Wafa ibn Aqil? He said, الذي صنف كتاب الفنون في ثمانمائة مجلد. Abu Wafa ibn Aqil is actually a person who wrote the book Al-Funun. Al-Funun means that sciences, Al-Fannu in Arabic means art. Means he wrote a book entitled The Arts for 800 volumes. He is a person who wrote a book in 800 volumes. 800, not 80 volume, not 8 volume, but 800. It's so much. But hear what he said about his life, what he's doing in his life. He said, "Inni la yahillu li an udayya sa'atan min umri." He said, verily, I do not allow myself to waste a moment of my age. Means that he doesn't ever use his life, his time, except for benefiting things. That's why he can wrote a book in 800 volumes. The same as we said about Imam Nawawi rahimahullah, that his lifespan is actually around 45 years old. But when you look about his writings, the book that he wrote, even some of the scholars try to understand how can Imam An-Nawawi rahimahullah wrote something like this. Means that writing in explanation of hadith, in fiqh, in everything, every knowledge. How can he wrote something like that? Because if you said that he involved in knowledge in early age, at most his writings will start at his early 20 or end of his teenage age, maybe 19, 18. Or we say 20. At 20 years old, he start to write. They said if he write at that time until he died, because he died at his age 45. So the time he have to write everything is actually only 25 years old, 25 years to write. So they start to actually count how many pages did he wrote during his life. They said maybe if he start at the 20th of his age, maybe around 10 pages daily. He write daily, then he can get to that extent. Allahu a'lam. But actually because the writing at that time is not like ours. Normally the page is so big and the letter is so big. So they said that maybe he write around 10 pages from the start of 20th of his age until 45. That's why the writing is so abundant, because he doesn't say um, waste his time in playing or doing other things, even things that actually not really being encouraged. Imam An-Nawawi rahimahullah being known as among the scholars who doesn't marry. He actually, because of his time being poured into teaching and everything and learning, so he doesn't get married. He didn't get married. The same as Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, Imam As-Sayuti, actually few names in the among the scholars known that they poured their effort in learning and teaching and everything about knowledge, even to the extent that they doesn't have the time to get married. Some of them want to get married, but actually because they died at early age, during 40 years old, start to they die. So that's why the opportunity to get married is actually they didn't have that opportunity. Ala kulli hal. So he said he wrote a book with a volume 800 volume, but he actually in his life he said, I do not allow myself to waste a moment of my time, my age, not to waste anything from his age to anything that is not benefiting. But to say that they actually doesn't have a social life, doesn't have friends is actually wrong, because we know that all of the scholars of Islam known to have uh, students and friends, that because of that their knowledge is being passed to us. If they are living by themselves only, not socializing with others, their knowledge will be actually only with them and will not pass to us. So the one who pass the knowledge to us is their friends, their students. It means that they have a social life with others. So we are not talking about going into knowledge, even cutting off yourself from others, because in Islam, knowledge, you gain your knowledge to give it away, not to gain the knowledge and just sit in your house or sit in a cave by yourself, thinking that Allah Ta'ala will accept you. No, because the knowledge has to be passed. It's known in the saying of the Arabs that Al-Ilmu bila amalin kashajari bila thamarin. A knowledge without any result, then it is actually like a tree without fruit. You have a tree but no fruit from that tree. So that is actually the parables between knowledge that is actually that is actually not benefiting, and also the knowledge that is not being passed. You didn't pass your knowledge to others, because knowledge will only be gained more and more by you giving it away. It's actually the opposite of wealth. Your wealth, you use it, it become lesser. The more you buy, the more you give, the lesser you have. But knowledge, the more you give, the more you gain. Because when you want to give knowledge, you will always try to make other people understand what you understood. You have understood, but those people doesn't understand. You have to make an effort to explain that knowledge to them. The explanation is actually things that will make the knowledge become easier for you, and will be actually carved into your mind and in your heart, and will not be forgotten. That's the thing. When we were in Yemen, studying there, actually we look at our teacher. Some of them is actually 80 years old, 90 years old, but they actually not senile or forgetting anything. And we said, why they are not forgetting? Because they always use their knowledge to give it away. So that their mind and their memory is not being wasted like that, just to stay. That's why when you learn knowledge, you have to have the eagerness to give it away, to teach others. That is the thing. That's why we want to, you have to know that. And when you want to give away knowledge, you have to be in a society, not sitting in the jungle. Stay there. You want to teach who? You want to teach in the jungle, in the cave. Because when you sit in, you stay in the society, mingling around with others, that is the time when your knowledge will be passed to others. So that's why when we say that the scholars, they mention their name, even doesn't have the time to get married, it doesn't say that they anti-social. They are not socializing, doesn't meet people. No, because their knowledge is passed to us because of his followers. They are followers who took the knowledge and pass it to others. Okay. وبلغت بهم الحال أن يقرأ عليهم حال الأكل بل كان يقرأ عليهم وهم في دار الخلاء. Because of their eagerness to take care of their time, the situation with them went as far as being read to them while they are eating. Means that they want to listen to knowledge. At that time, you don't have the video cassette or audio player. So if you want to hear whatever being written in book, you have to have somebody read it to you. So some of them want to hear the knowledge to the extent that he pay people or ask people to read for him while he is eating, because he want to continuously want to know more and more. So he doesn't want to waste his time. Means that while eating, no knowledge there. So he start to ask people to read for him. Actually, this is what we know from among the scholars, like Sheikh Abdul Aziz bin Baz, rahimahullah, the Grand Mufti of Saudis, that died in the end of 1990s. He actually blind from his teenage. Well, he is actually a teenager, was a teen. He was blind at that time. He become blind at that time. So if you really understand a person who is blind from the early age, how can he gain knowledge after that? Because most of books in Arabic books is not being compiled into braille writing. No, it's still being written in books. So Shaykh bin Baz rahimahullah, he have few students who recite to him or read to him books. But subhanallah, his memory is actually so powerful. So the student, when the student read to him few times, and he already remember everything inside the book. Because he actually blind, a blind person. How do you teach a blind person? You recite, you read to them. This is the thing that when we were in Yemen, we see that the Arabs, most of them, when they are children born blind or become blind, they will always channel their children to become the hafiz of the Al-Quran, mean the one who memorized the Al-Quran. Because the one anybody who lost their sight, their part of the brain for vision, which is at the back of the head, will become a memory, become part for memory. Because the blind people, essentially, they have a more powerful memory, powerful memory. So when they become blind, if the Arabs, they have children who are blind, they will send their children, their blind children, to the place of memorization of the Quran, the school of memorization of the Quran. We sadly in Malaysia, when people blind, we send them to play music. So the opposite for what happened there. They always put knowledge of Quran or Islam above everything. The lackness of eyesight for their children, they gain the other side of memorization of the Quran. So Shaykh bin Baz rahimahullah, like I said here, he actually being recited to him books. So he know everything what you know about when he talk about fatwas, giving advice in rulings in religion. He's a blind person. He doesn't see anything. So how can he answer correctly? Because during his lifespan, because his blindness is actually from the early age. If not, I'm not mistaken, during his age 16, 16, 16. So he become blind. So how can he become a mufti when he blind in 16 of his age? That is because he keep on learning. So the way he's learning is actually being recite to him books. They recite to him the books, and he will hear and understand and memorize it. Subhanallah. So the extent of scholars before Shaykh bin Baz, rahimahullah, they want to listen to the knowledge. They don't have the audio recorder, audio player. So they have students who read to them, read for them books, and they don't want to waste their time. Even when eating, they want to hear about the knowledge. And here is actually after that, the second part is actually quite interesting or actually funny, and even being read to them while they are in the toilet. You know, they go to the toilet, they still want to hear about the knowledge. So from outside the toilet, the student will recite the book for him. So he inside the toilet because he doesn't want to waste. Doesn't want to waste. Some of them, they to the extent want to hear knowledge all the time. But what is like I said, you doesn't ever have to look negatively at them because when they are doing that, they are still married to people, to a woman, have children and everything. Like Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, they have children. Some of them, like I said, Ibn Taymiyyah doesn't have the chance to get married because he died in jail. He been jail, been prison by the rulers at this time. So he died in the prison. So he doesn't have the time to get married. Imam An-Nawawi rahimahullah, 45 at early age, because at that time 40 or 50 he keep on learning and teaching, so he doesn't have the moment to when to find a wife. But having social life, yes, they have social life. They have people around them to pass their knowledge. That's the thing. So about recitation inside the toilet is actually something funny. You want to I want to hear this. Can you read the book from for me from outside the toilet? Because continuously they don't want to waste time. Then this type of actually attitude, when I was in Yemen, I can see it from our Arab friend. They always have the books in their hand and always looking at the book wherever they go. The book is with them. The book is with them. Allahu Alam, maybe at that time the smartphone is not there yet, because 98 to 2007. At that time, the smartphone like our time right now can you can read PDF there, documents and everything. It's not been invented yet. Not yet being invented. So remember, they have the physical books all the time with them, all the time. That is the things that I can see that in our Arab friend, the eagerness to learn is so strong. He said here, "Fahfaz ayyuhat talibu waqtaka." So keep, keep your time, O seeker of knowledge. You for all of people, from among of people who are actually alive, you are a seeker of knowledge. You want to gain knowledge. Then you have to keep your time. Keep your time. Be careful about your time. فلقد أبلغ الوزير الصالح ابن الحبيرة في نسك بقوله ابن حبيرة ابن حبيرة Ibn Hubairah, actually, Al-Wazir, he's actually a vizier, a minister. Ibn Hubairah, one of the most renowned the ministers. His name is Abu Muzaffar Yahya bin Muhammad bin Hubairah Al-Shaybani Nasaban Summa Ad-Duri Al-Baghdadi Al-Hambali. He was born in 499 Hijrah and died in 560 Hijrah. This actually the things about him that people amazed with him. He become a minister, but still going into knowledge, still learning and teaching, even though he is a minister. He doesn't cut off his time from learning learning Islam and practicing knowledge in Islam. Even some of the scholars praise him by saying that he's a minister who is actually a knowledgeable person that practicing his knowledge. He said, so he said here, the pious vizier Ibn Hubairah has actually come to the explanation in advising you with his word, actually by a poem said by Ibn Hubairah. He said, wal waqtu anfasu ma unita bihifzihi wa arahu ashala ma alayka yadi'u. He said, the time and time is the most precious. You are devoted to keep it. Means that you should devote yourself to keep your time. Time is the most precious. You have gold, you have phone, you have cars, you have anything. The most precious you have to take care about it is in your time. But he said also, وَأَرَاهُ أَسْهَلُ مَا عَلَيْكَ يَضِيعُ. But at the same time, I see it is the easiest for you to waste it. It is the most precious for you to take care of, but it is the most easiest for you to waste, to lose it. Is it because time is actually most precious. So alhamd tamatil khulasah, our summarization finished today. Alhamd. So inshallah, our today will be our last class for this book. Then inshallah next year, in this week we will announce new class that we will be having here in our main hall of Al Khadim. The title and the books will be shared inshallah through our Facebook and media, social media inshallah. Baik, alhamdulillah thumma alhamdulillah alal kamal. Baik. Like always, we try to look into question and answer if there are any question from the audience. Alhamdulillah, there's no question. So inshallah, may Allah Ta'ala bless us and whoever followed our class and actually get benefit for it. May Allah Ta'ala make it benefit for us, for me and for you, all of you. I know that before the end of the MCO, during the MCO, the class is actually quite heavy numbers. And during this time, we know that it's time for to go to work. When people go to office on site, they cannot have the same time for them like in the MCO. So we understand because of your work, you cannot attend the class. Anyway, you know that after our class, the view will increase in the YouTube and everything in social media. So ala kulli hal, may Allah Ta'ala benefit us with whatever we learn, and Allah Ta'ala make us know more than whatever we have learned. Wallahu a'lam. Wassallallahu ala Muhammadin wa sallam alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Subhanallah hamdi insya Allah anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.